Hi and hello. The name's Harkheindzel and you're welcome to another episode of I Mentor with Harkheindzel. Over the past series and sessions ago, we've been talking about the gates, the thrones and the gates of finance, and it is important for me to really stress yet again the importance of understanding the place of finance in these times. Now, when I mention the word finance, it's not all about money, but money is also part of it. It's all about resources, how to really understand how resources play out and everything through which it plays out with. So last time I shared an important mystery about finances that determines how quick you complete the cycle of currency. Now, when you receive a note or money, that you've already spent before, maybe you made a mark to it or you knew exactly how it looked like, and you can tell to 99.9 degrees of percentage of accuracy that I've seen this money before, I've spent this money before, why is it coming back to me? Now, it is a very important cycle in the path of wealth and finances, and riches, as it were. When a note or money comes back to you, what do you do with that note? Do you spend it? Do you invest it? Or you send it on an errand? Okay, I'm sure you will have gotten the answers to that, because I really did talk about that in the last episode, and I do not want to brush all over it yet again. So today I want to talk about the force of finance, and we've talked about currency of finance and the other parts of it, but the other part of it is the force of finance. We have the currency of finance, then we have the force of finance. Now, the currency of finance is more like the potential, but the potential doesn't mean it's necessarily static. It means that it's in a state of life, it's breathing, it's undulating, but it still has in it a static state. So we cannot really get the best out of finance until we learn to send it or put it in motion, okay? And that is where the force of finance really comes out to play. Now, you see, the waters is the seat of most of the wealth of the earth, because everything we use on earth and everything we have that have come from the earth is waters, is linked to waters. That's why about 75% of the earth is water, and that's why about 80% of man is water. The earth came out of water. That's why water is always going to be something that sustains the earth. So everything else we find in earth, the minerals, etc., is linked to the waters. Oil, for example, is found in the heart of the waters, while gold is gotten from the heart of the earth. When you understand currency, you realize that there is a constant state of motion. But when you understand force, it means you can now channel or direct this currency in a given direction. And this is very important, and it's one of the things we really need to note and work with in this time. We cannot do without it. Now, there are three things that are very important. This is where trade and transactions really come. And to really understand this force, you must understand the force of demand, the force of gradient, and the force of attraction. Now, when I talk about demand is an intent, that creates a pressure that tends to draw currency in a certain direction. Now, demand is not physical. That means you can't see it, you can't touch it, but you know when it's in operation. Gradient, on the other hand, is a structure that is put in place that determines the direction of flow of resources or money. It's just like when there is a gradient, there's a hill, and you put something at the top of the hill, it flows down, not because anything is causing it to, but because the structure has been made in such a way that it allows and permits the flow in a given direction. The third one is attraction. And attraction is the force, really, that draws on the purpose of demand and gradient to bring in currency and finance. And it's something we really need to understand. These three things are very instrumental and important in understanding the force of finance. Now, it is important to note that the force of finance can utilize one or more of these forces to achieve its goals, depending on whether it's a spiritual goal, a mental goal, or a physical goal. Okay, so how much you can pull this finance towards you determines how much finances you can channel through you. Understanding that finance is not about you storing things up, but allowing yourself to become a channel through which things can really flow. It is selfishness and wickedness and ignorance for you to believe or think that you would get really wealthy by storing things up. It doesn't happen that way. You get wealthy by being a channel through which things can flow. Now, these forces have certain expressions through which it comes. It could be through a person, it could be through a tool, it could be through a means. For example, a person can direct the flow of finance if he's an influencer or is an authority. Now, a tool could be a product or a material that helps direct the flow of finances. For example, if you make a product and you sell it to people, you get people to transfer their finances and their monies to you. So that is an intentional flow of determining the direction where finances flow. So when it comes to the tool, how much products you have determined and how much you're willing to make people see the necessity and the importance of that product through which they are willing and able to give money in return. That's how wealthy you're going to be. And you need to understand that that money is not entirely for storage. It's for process to pass through and channeling and all of that. And the third is a means. A means is just kind of like a process. Okay, it's more psychological, neurological. What can you set in place that creates a natural flow in the human mind, the perceptive flow, as it were. We're going to talk more about that, I believe, sometimes later, because I don't really want to rush to do all of this at once, even though I understand its importance. But I feel it's important to give this in tits and pieces so that you can assimilate and put to work the little things you've heard and see how you can really take on a lot more. Now, I wouldn't want to go into much of the details right now, but I believe that the core I want you to get this time is how much force do you have and how well do you understand the things in your control. If you do not understand the things in your control, it becomes very difficult for you to determine the flow or the direction of finances. And so what can you pull? Do you pull people? Are you the kind of person that the moment, based on your authority or likability or social capital, you have the resources of people around you? Do you pull goodwill or favor? That is also very important to know. For example, are you the kind of person that if you go to a place, maybe you're about to buy something and there has been no one at that kiosk or at that shop, but the moment you're there and you're engaging with a buyer, something happens and people begin to look in that direction and come. Now, when that happens to you a lot, often it means you have favor and goodwill. So how can you really use that which you have to determine the direction of finances? It's also something for you to look into. And also, there are some people who even pull misfortune. Everywhere they go, there's a dooms following them around. It's important for you to know what you pull. Okay, it's either you pull good energy or negative energy. It's almost difficult for you not to pull anything except you're dead. All right. So that's very important to know. Now, it's good to know yourself and then work towards working on your pulling power. The more your force of